In this episode of Leadership Hustle, we'll talk about how the people you lead are giving you messages that will make you a better leader. Hello, and welcome to the Leadership Hustle for executives whose companies are growing fast and need leaders who are ready. Hi there, and welcome back to this episode of the Leadership Hustle. I'm Andrea Fredrickson, and I'm joined with my co-host, Michelle Hill.
Yes,
I almost
hello.
called you Andrea Fredrickson.
That would be the first.
So I don't know if you all know this. When we do these recordings, we record 2 or 3 or 4 episodes at a time, and so this is the last one we're doing today, and we're a little bit punchy. So this episode specifically is on feedback. So.
Yeah, well, and it's on feedback, I want to say, where usually when people are listening or thinking about feedback, they're thinking that it's the feedback they're giving, right? And it's always interesting when you work in many layers in an organization, the feedback that isn't heard from their employees, right? You know, it's things that employees are maybe, you know, they're not as confident to be direct. They're testing the waters. Is it safe to be direct? But it's the things that they'd like to see, maybe little tweaks with how you're behaving possibly, right? And it's interesting because oftentimes in our programs, as we work in different levels of the organization, people will say, did my manager go through this program? And you know, the interesting one is it happens a lot with delegation, like in developing people through delegation. And because my manager does not delegate very much, or if they do delegate, it's kind of a quick dump, and it's not purposeful. It's not about developing. It's about we're under stress, pressure, fire, and I'm just trying to throw things off or whatever. And yeah, so that question then leads, obviously, when they say this, and to my manager, I'm like, well, what are you noticing? And then, of course, my next question is along the lines of, have you said something to them?
What did they say when you said something?
Yeah, no, I didn't. No, I did not. More often than not, ones that have found the courage. I just had a person I was just chatting with recently had the courage, and she communicated something up to her manager, and it clearly was not the manager's intention, and it was more along her communication style, just very direct to the point, very black and white, and how it can come across really harsh. And this person needed to have a little bit of a, can I pause and think, and and a little more information and so forth. But all the time, our employees, they're telling us stuff. And it's not even employees, it's people, it's family, it's friends. They're telling us. It's just, are we listening, right?
I agree. And no matter what, especially in the role of leadership, we can't take that hat off, because that role of leadership is powerful. Okay?
Correct.
Now, how well you demonstrate leadership is different than your title of leadership. So that's kind of where we're going to hang our hats here, where it's like, as a person who is in a leadership role, are you leading by listening? Are you leading by listening? And so, in your experience, what kinds of things have people told you that they do to try to give feedback to the person they report to? Because it's kind of scary for some folks.
More than yes.
With a little kind of...
Well, and oftentimes I'm having the conversation with the people at the higher level. It's like, your title is going to make them nervous just because of your title. And the fact is that you do have... They don't want you to view them in a negative light. You influence their future. And so there's a lot sitting there. And so people will tolerate, they'll delay, or give excuses or exceptions for a manager, maybe not behaving in the most desired way.
Right.
And more often than not, you'll find too, when you ask questions, it's when they're under pressure, when it's stressed.
Oh, when the manager or leader's under pressure.
Yes, yeah. You'll hear them talk about, well, when they're really stressed or under pressure, I was like, well, have you mentioned that to them? They probably, would like to know.
Right.
But yeah, no, everyone's been really different on that one. Some people end up having the conversation. Some people continue to avoid. So, but as I always say, it's like, well, nothing's going to change if you don't have a conversation. Because in the conversation, really, they may not like it, but they need to hear it. And nothing's going to change unless you have the conversation. And I'm not promising anything's going to change necessarily either.
Right.
They have to choose that, right? But if you don't bring it up, and you can put it into I statements, as in, and that's where I will encourage. I've noticed it. Or when we are working through X, this, the communication or how you say this really, it just makes me nervous. And then I kind of go into more of a protect mode or shut down mode. And I'm not for sure if you're mad at me or not.
Right.
And if they can have the courage to say that.
Right. So those scenarios where they would like to say something, there are people that don't know how to have the conversation. They don't know how to approach that because they feel like it's almost like discipline. It's like, this is not a discipline. This is a conversation, just like you're having with your coworker, realizing that they have authority and influence over them.
Yes.
And so, opening up the conversation in ways where it's like, hey, I've noticed something when you get stressed that affects me, and I was wondering if we could talk about that.
Yes.
Or I'm noticing while we're working through this project that we act different and I need some help.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And recognizing that, like, oh, people are like, especially when we say I need some help, it really does make a difference. People are like, oh, I'll do whatever I can to help you.
And it goes back to, more often than not, the ones that I have had conversations with after they did it, they're like, that wasn't their intent. I mean, is what it really comes down to, right?
Right.
And then hopefully they worked on it.
Yeah. So if the employee hasn't had or doesn't have the confidence, are there things that they do that try to send the message, like try to put it in the air and see if anybody catches it? Like, what kinds of things do people do that you notice, or maybe you've watched people do?
I think sometimes they'll generalize it.
Okay.
Right. In a meeting or a discussion, they'll make it just more of a general, not that person, which we even know we do that. We have this conversation with managers not to do that. They have one employee that's not doing X, but they tell everyone we're not doing X. Everyone knows who they're talking about, right?
Right.
But that's probably the biggest one, is they probably try to generalize it, or the worst, they talk about it with coworkers. So one of the things I do say, if they are going to have a conversation with their manager upwards, right, it's about you, not anyone else. Don't say we noticed.
Well,
it's the I statements, right?
There was a coworker that we had years ago. And that person was pretty blunt about things, but at some point in time, what that person did would come to me and said, I was talking to everybody and we think this. I'm like, what?
Yeah. And how did that feel?
And I'm like, oh, okay. And it hurt, right?
Yeah.
And it hurt like, oh, no one, you're the spokesperson.
Yeah. It was that bad they had to get a spokesperson?
Right. and come to find out, I had to do a little recognizance. Like, I had to go through, it's like, I want to know if this is something everybody believes or feels, not because I want to discount one person.
Yes.
I want to understand, is this pervasive, or is this a situation or a perception? Come to find out, in many cases, it bugged this person. Now I say that, and I would advise a manager, it's like, was everybody else comfortable telling you the truth, or were they not, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, most of us have worked together long enough. They're like, yo, Andrea, no, that's not how it works, right? So, but I think that there's something to be said about when people do come to you and generalize. We can't excuse it. We got to go check. We got to go find out. We can't say, oh, it's so-and-so and they're always mad at me, right?
Oh, yeah, justify it, excuse it,
So we've got to look at, if they are generalizing it, or are they saying we as a group? It seems like right?
Yeah, that's more of an attack.
I've also noticed that sometimes when people behave in a room, or are in a room with a
like
conversation, a meeting, a small meeting, that there's a lot of body language that they're trying to tell this person, I don't agree. I mean, I remember this one lady, whenever she didn't like what I said, she would do this deep sigh, eye roll, and put her hands on her hips if she was standing. And I was like, I need you to use your words, because I don't I know there's some message here, but it's usually when you don't agree with me, but I don't know what part you disagree with me on. But I had to pull out, it's like, I noticed the behaviors. By the way, I didn't say, I noticed your attitude.
Yeah.
It is an attitude, but we have positive and negative attitudes, right? It's like, I noticed these behaviors. Help me understand.
Yes.
And so,
but I think that also aligns, though, with the opposite, though, where a manager will believe that because no one says anything, that they're aligned, right? And that silence should be telling you something.
Right, that's false harmony.
Yeah, yes, it goes back to that. And at that point, it's like, okay, what is it that I don't know that they're all thinking? Or maybe they're all thinking something different, but the silence is more often not aligned. But we just assume, oh, no one said anything, it must be good, let's go.
Right.
Versus encouraging the questions, or encouraging, let's talk about it. Let's put it on the table.
One of the things that we encourage people to do during one-on-ones, and remember, when we talk about one-on-ones, we're not talking about check-ins. We're talking about developmental conversations. How can this, what does this person want to learn or do or aspire to? What goals are they working on? How can we help them? How can we remove barriers and things like that? Well, part of that conversation can be, are there things that I'm doing that make it more difficult for you?
Yeah.
Or is inconsistent to the message we're sending? What are the kinds of things? So you're asking for that feedback, right? And some people, especially the first meetings like that, they ask that question, it's like, oh, no, we're fine.
Well, again, yeah, it goes fear.
It's safe.
Yeah, it's am I safe? I don't know if I'm safe, so I'm fine. I haven't noticed anything. We need to let them think on it, though.
We do. And so we have to create the repetition where it feels comfortable, or even being vulnerable ourselves by saying, you know what? One of the things I was working on is not interrupting people and letting them have a full conversation. I had to hear that from someone else to recognize, I do that. And so I really appreciated the fact that someone's telling me that, and I'm working on that. And I understand how disrespectful that is. So I'm looking for things like that. Do I interrupt you? Do I take over projects for you? Do I allow you things that you should do? It's like those. Sometimes you give examples.
Do I? I was kind of cracking up because someone's not gonna, do I take projects back from you? Well, someone might be like, yeah, and I'm not gonna complain.
Right?
You can have it.
Right?
But and on this reverse side, though, I mean, we in different groups we work with, we encourage, or sometimes we assign that whole go seek feedback.
Oh, for sure.
Right, but it is involving the give people time to think about it so they can kind of process, and give them some examples of maybe what you're noticing that can help them tune into.
There you go.
Right. Like the one, I have recently caught myself. Well, and I tell people, I used to walk into our office and just go interrupt all the time. And it's kind of part of my personality. And I was very intentional for a long time not to go to Courtney's space or whatever it is, because I just go in. Morning.
And they know you're here, and that's what's going on, right?
But yeah, you have to let them know that. But
okay, so let's say that an employee had confidence enough, the guts enough to give the manager supervisor feedback, the leader. What are things the manager leader should not do or say?
Well, they shouldn't excuse it. Or disagree with them, discredit them.
Yeah, you know why I do that, right?
Yeah.
Well, I only do that when.
Yes.
Oh, I do that? Oh, I'm sure I don't.
Yeah. There's all different ways to excuse it. Yeah, do not excuse it. If what they should do is, if it's not obvious, ask clarifying questions. Right? It's okay. I want to make sure If someone generalizes, I just don't feel like you listen. Well, what the does that mean? Because when am I not listening, right? There's probably very specific times in our conversation, maybe I'm not listening and maybe I'm tuning out. Let's say in a meeting, you might be thinking, oh, well, Michelle, in meetings, sometimes I don't feel like you're listening. Okay, you've gotten me to a meeting at least, right?
Right.
That's helpful. But it's, okay, when? What am I doing that might cause you to think that? And
there we go. That's
yeah.
exactly.
Those are the questions that, or can you give me a couple examples just recently, maybe when I did it? But you have to ask those questions, I believe, in a way that a person's going to still feel safe, right? Because if you just start shooting back questions, they're going to be like, oh shit, I should not have brought this up, right?
Well, and watch your facial expressions, because I know me personally, when somebody asks me a question and I don't have what I want to say, me looking up in my eyes and my brain to find the answer or the question I need to ask.
You're looking away.
I'm looking away, and it doesn't look that much different than, are you freaking kidding me?
Yes.
Okay, so it's the same look.
Yes. Or it's the RBF, what everyone calls it, and face it, RBF is there because our face is we're not focused on our muscles. You have to use your muscles to smile. So we're all going to have the RBF, but.
So know how you're going to respond, not react, but respond. And so whatever they bring you, there's only two choices that you can do that are effective. One is thank them. The other is great. Okay,
help me understand.
I need more information to help me understand, so I can hone in on what this is. Right?
Because if you don't understand it, you can't do anything about it.
Right. So if you know how you're going to respond, you know what your two options are in this scenario, then it's not, okay, I have to look up in my eyes and find out what I'm going to do. I'm not rolling my eyes. I'm not looking. I have a facial expression that's welcoming, or at least willing
calm.
To hear.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Open.
And so looking for that feedback. And this is so important, because, again, the culture you're building, accidentally or intentionally, is based on your behavior. Do you excuse behavior that's not correct? Are you unaware that you're excusing or tolerating or rewarding something you don't want to, simply by going about your day? Mm-hmm. And your team members are giving you some form of communication.
They're always communicating.
Right? You can't not communicate. That's correct. The rule.
I mean, sometimes it's easily misunderstood, but
true, right?
I mean, it might not have anything to do with you. That's the funny thing too, though, if you think about it. A lot of times whenever something's happening and you have the facial expressions, the body language, you're looking at it and interpreting it that I'm thinking about you, when in all reality, I'm thinking about me.
Right.
And we all do that. So that gets...
It's so funny you say this, because when we have meetings, whether it's a one-on-one coaching, small group training, large group training, we're always watching people's facial expressions and their body language, and we're always looking like, did they get it? Did they not get it? And sometimes I'm like, hey, Michelle, I see this look on your face like, oh, I'm good, right? Because they were just thinking, I got to pick up the cat food. I got to drop off the dry cleaning. I've got to do these things.
Our little mini vacations.
Yeah, the little mini vacations we go to. So we just check. Yeah. So if you ask a coworker, because their body language shifted, their facial expressions changed, there's a message. It's just, was it for us or not for us?
Correct. Don't assume it's for you.
But it's okay to ask.
It is, definitely. It's good to ask. That way you get clarification, because otherwise you're going to be wondering. So if we think, kind of pulling it back together, right? It's as leaders in the organization, or peers, individuals, it doesn't really matter, right?
Yep.
We're always receiving feedback from conversations, from meetings, from others. And how good of a job are we doing at picking up on those subtle little maybe nudges or things that people are slightly bringing up, maybe not directly, and then when we do start picking those up, do we get into that open and curious mindset?
Right.
And where we want, we have good intentions, so I just need to understand where that misunderstanding is taking place, so I can align that better and not get defensive. Right.
Our employees are the best people to tell us how to be better leaders, because the person we report to may not notice all these behaviors because they aren't with us that often.
Correct.
It's the people that we lead that give us the most important messages.
Yes.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Leadership Hustle. And if you hit subscribe, you will never miss another episode.